Entertainment. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can. Hi.
Cool, good. So I was trying to be all high tech and like do it from the computer. I downloaded like TikTok for the desktop, and so I could be in the studio and all that. And lo and behold, it phone phone with microphone support. How you doing, Queen?
I'm good, King. How you doing?
No complaints over here. I'm just happy to, tap in. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that was like already on your live before I even pulled up. Big up, big up, big up. And yo, man, thank you so much for allowing me to come through on the platform.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to go ahead and start because you already here. You ready? So, hey, you guys, what's up? This your girl Yamahhhh, kicking it with Yamahhhh, and tonight guest is a special guest. He's a rapper, radio personality, a film producer, and many more. So, oh my God, yeah, that's my y'all taking shots, whatever. But this is your this that's my cousin. Don't pay him no mind. But this is your boy HeadKrack. Tonight episode is, I mean, it's gonna be so sensational. We're gonna have us a time. This right here, y'all. I'm so grateful because he have a very busy schedule, but he was like, I'm gonna do it for you, y'all. So I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, Quinn. And let me let everybody out there know this is the first TikTok live I've ever done. Like I've gone live on my TikTok, but I've never done a TikTok interview. So like, yo, I was sounding mad prehistoric. Like when I was like, yo, how do you do this? How do I get on? Like, I was just trying to be ahead of the curve.
That's so good. That's good. So I got the first live interview from HeadKrack. Y'all heard it
Yep, yep.
tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to go ahead and ask you, how did you get the name HeadKrack?
All right, so and usually I have some on my table, but I shoot dice, right? Well, not as much now, but when I was a kid, I used to shoot dice a lot. And whenever you play this game called CeeLo and you roll a 4, 5, 6, you yell head crack, when you win. So it's kind of like a declaration of good fortune, good luck, good wealth. And, I've been very blessed, my entire career to just like walk into opportunities and just kind of manifest, random things that just, ended up lasting and going for a long time. So it was kind of taking a little aspect of the streets and also putting it in a spiritual space as well. I also have an open mind and also used to fight a lot, but like that's lowest on the totem pole. Lowest, high vibrational things, you know.
So tell us some things that people will be surprised about you that they didn't know.
I think a lot of people are shocked when they find out. I don't know. I don't know what shocks people. Like, I'm a person who like will try anything, right? Like anything that's scary, I'll go do it just so I can say I got it out of the way. Like literally, like my homie Tanner, who we do side dish together and Dish Nation as well. He invited me to go skydiving with him, and I'm with the shenanigans. Like I'm with all of it. I've also gone on ayahuasca retreats. I don't know if everybody in the chat know what ayahuasca is, but it's like usually people go to the jungles of South America and they be like like in with mosquitoes, and they take this like the sacred tea and they have like this life changing experience. I've gone on 4 of those, but I didn't leave the country. I did it locally. Um, what else is there? A lot of people don't know I do music. I'm actually appalled at that part actually because it's what like it was music that got me into everything that people know me for. It was like calling these different radio stations, battling people on the air, going to different like music showcases and stuff like that, and rap contests and stuff like that. It was that got the attention of different radio people in the city I was doing it in at that time. It started in New York, but when I really started getting aggressive with it when I moved to Dallas because the lane was wide open, and that opened the door for everything. However, I'm still meeting people today. They're like, "You do music?" And it's like, yeah, that's what I care about the most. That's why I call myself this. Like I wasn't named this. Like this is a nickname for my music stuff. But okay.
So let's touch on that. How did you become a rapper? Like what inspired you to become a rapper?
So growing up in the Bronx during the early '80s, right, where like hip hop is still new, it's this exciting, it's this fresh thing. I mean, these guys are the superheroes. You see the Run DMCs, the LL Cool J's, the Fat Boys, the Houdinis. Fast forward to the next wave, the Snoop Dogs, the Wu Tang Clans, the Outkast, the NWAs, all those things. It just seemed so relatable because I was living through the eras and times that these guys were talking about, right? And I felt at some point I was really good. I just got good at it really quick. I used to like beatbox for my friends. And then like when I started losing teeth, because like, like I was that young, like I'm still like losing like baby teeth. Like, it's hard to do a beatbox if like, it's airy, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I can't beatbox no more. Let me start like writing. And I started writing. And then by the time I got into the seventh grade, I started taking it a lot more serious because like when I was in the seventh grade, I lived in this place called Concourse Village. Anybody knows New York or the Bronx? Concourse Village was dangerous then, and it's more dangerous now, from what I understand. They even got rid of the security guards. They used to work the building. That dangerous. Um, so like I never went out. I was never outside. I was always in the crib. So like my grandmother had like like this fly little den where like I could like open the window, just see everything that was going down on the block. And we was on the sixth floor, so we was like high up enough to like be away from nonsense just in case somebody starts shooting or something, but close enough to be like, oh, such and such outside. Oh, Mr. Softy's coming down the block. Let me see if I can get down there in time with my money. Whoopty whoops, I get like an ice cream or something. But like I spent so much time in that den, just like back then, typing rhymes
Yeah.
on a typewriter, like
Oh.
because I'm from the late 1900s. And so I'm typing on a typewriter. Then eventually I started getting notebooks, which mysteriously I still have my seventh grade rap notebook.
Oh, that's dope.
Yo, and it's crazy because like sometimes I'll go back and read some of that stuff and it'd be like stuff still kind of works. Some of it, like I mean, like not everything in there is like still something I could pop out with and run with it, but like yo, there's a lot of usable material in there. So I man, like so that seventh grade year was a very transformative year. It was like the first time like I rapped on stage by myself because I was supposed to like rap with a partner, right? This guy named Hassan, and me and him had a fallout right before the talent show. And that was one of those situations where it was like, all right, cool. I just fell out with my homie who conveniently lived 4 floors below me in the same unit, right? I was 6C, he lived on 2C. And so like anytime like, yo, what you doing? Like I stick my hand out the window, yo, Hops, what you doing? He watching TV. Like, so like we had such a dope friendship for like a good portion of our seventh grade year. And then one time we was on a bus and like there's this girl I like named Kimberly. I would say her last name, but I don't want y'all googling her. So I had a crush on this girl, and he tried to play me in front of that girl. So I overreacted. I took his hat, and I threw it off the bus, the city bus. Because we would take the city because we was going to Christ the King Elementary. Christ the King is not elementary, but Christ the King back then it was like went from like kindergarten to like eighth grade. So we was taking a city bus, and like I threw the hat off the bus, and then like the next day like because I used to record episodes of UMTV Raps, Rap City, Video Music Box, and he like had like I don't know like 8 of my tapes. Yo, he put the tapes in a pillowcase and he beat it with a bat and then brought it up to my door and like knocked on the door and dropped the tape. And it was one of those things where like I could have been mad and I was mad about it, but I threw his hat out the window. That was an overreaction for him. Like I overreacted, and I see my wrong in that.
Okay.
However, to this day, we're not cool, and it sucks, right? Because we ran into each other again as adults. Well, not even adults. He was going to school in Atlanta, and at this time I'm living in Texas, and somehow I got a hold of him, and we linked up, and we were cool during that time, like for that time that we linked up, because like we was cool enough to be like, yo, this is where I'm at, come see me. And but then like I found him years later on LinkedIn, and I hit him up. I was like, yo, is this the same Hassan I used to blah 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 blah? And he was like, no. And I'm looking at the picture, I'm like, nigga, it's you. Like, so I don't know if he just wanted to leave that part of his life in the past, but I felt offended. I felt very offended. And if it wasn't him, then I'm strong and wrong again. But I definitely know it was him. And a crazy thing that would have been a telltale sign. Son only got 9 fingers. So like if I was trying to look in his pictures on LinkedIn to see if like you could see his hand, but he was hiding it like Napoleon in pictures of Napoleon, like how he always kept his hand tucked like he was reaching for a gun. So like it was hard to tell, like that would have been like to tell, like yo, show me like if you're a real person, send me a picture with your hands like that. But like nah, like yeah, I just took that instant no as like okay, you're not who I thought you was. Okay, cool, yeah.
That man don't want you digging up no bones from his past, and you over here. He probably had a.
I'm not that friend. I'm not that person. That's not me. That's like no. I just wanted to be, like I am real big on reconnecting with friends, and I pride myself in having a lot of the same homies, that I grew up with in elementary school.
Yeah.
And like, yo, I was just trying to complete the set. You know what I mean? And like, hey man, anything, start throwing your hat out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like all that. You know what I mean? But whoop de whoop, you can't win them all.
Okay, so you gave us a little bit of background on your rapping career. You still rap, right? You still doing that, right?
That's just as offensive as, hey, I didn't know you rap. So I just put out a new project September 2nd called Microdose Plus. And that's the latest offering. And I'm like feverishly working right now to drop another EP like right around the time of my birthday. Just to like, just get more of the music out and be like all these people in modern day who just drop music for no reason, just to have more songs out. Cause I got a lot of records. I got a lot of records, like not only just by myself, but also with other really dope people too, who, yeah, like, I want people to hear this stuff, before it gets to the point where they're like, damn, that sounds like that was made on the exact date. Because sometimes things have a certain sound, or like you might reference something like, "Yo, brand new, like the PS2." Like that came out exactly on 2003 on March 7th. Like so, like you want to get it out there before it starts to age and grow mold.
Right.
And I also am performing live November 30th at this place called the Perfect Note with Bonita Jolene. It's gonna be like a hip hop R&B mashup with a live band. It's called Bars and Soul. We got some special guests that's gonna pop out, do some really cool things. So yeah, like I'm definitely still doing music and I'm definitely cooking up.
Yeah, the album that you did drop. Tell us what's the best song that you was like, okay, yeah, this is like this song stand out opposed to all the other songs. Like, what is like?
No, it's like picking your favorite child if you have more than one, man. They all mean different things to me, but if I was to say, or for Microdose Plus, I think my favorite record is probably this joint called It Follows. And it's just because it's such a personal song. It's like talking about how um it's talking about how my parents separated, and kind of like at the root of it all is how like different traumas and things that happen to you when you're younger, it follows you as you get older. And a lot of us are dealing with things, but we don't understand why we're dealing with the things, because sometimes trauma and stress and things like that can be passed down generationally. And like there's a line I say, a lot of us chased by traumas that stroll slow, emotional time bomb, don't know when it's gonna blow. Our ancestors stress us, oppress us in silence. There's always bound to something, can't escape violence. On Depression Island, nobody's smiling. Drug patterns continue while the doctors prescribe it. It's hard to break a chain when you can't explain what it's tied to. We over medicated, lied to. Early deaths so common, funerals and drive-throughs. You know what I mean? Like,
Spit
it's
that. Spit
thank you,
that.
yo. Thank you, yo. Like, so it's all personal. And then even too, like, a lot of people don't know how the government played a larger part. Shout out to Alfonso. Yes, Perfect Note in Georgia. Yep. Yeah, right off of in Marietta. But a lot of people don't know how much the United States government had a part to play in destroying black families in the 80s. And they talk about it a little bit. If I don't know if you ever seen the show Snowfall.
Mm-mm.
So Snowfall was a show on FX, right? It was loosely based on the life of the real Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross, who was a guy who was selling drugs in LA, right? And then he got pinched. And they're like, hey, listen, you can't sell drugs, but you can sell them for us. So he got caught up in that mix, and he was selling drugs for the government. He was getting paid, and the government was using the money he was making from selling drugs to fund a war and buy weapons for the Iran Contra people. And where these drugs were going out and flowing to was black communities. So that's why, like, a lot of during the 80s, when the crack epidemic hit, you had so many people who didn't see it coming because it was greenlit. It was allowed to happen. So, my parents operated on both sides of it. They sold and they used a little bit too, in the powdery form. But still, like, that messed up so many families because crack had a different effect on the brain for a lot of people than cocaine did. You know, cocaine people, they hype, because like what people fail to understand is like in the 70s and the early 80s, like people were doing cocaine because it was rich. Like it was a rich people's drug.
Yeah.
Crack made cocaine affordable because they're cutting it and they rocking it up and it adding whatever they add to it to cut it. And you know, people's brain chemistry changed after using that, and it messed up so many families between point A and point B. And at the crux of it all, at the top of it all, was the same people talk about just say no. Ronald Reagan, freaking George Bush Senior, Oliver North, like all these people were in on it. But on the back end of all that, like, oh, just say no. You know, they had like Nancy Reagan as the front person for that. And like all these people should be in jail right now. Like I really wish they could dig up Ronald Reagan, cuff his corpse, and let us kick it.
What? You is wild, man.
But I mean it with my whole heart, man, because like I watched my neighborhood change in real time. You know, I watched what it did to people around me that I know. I watched it what it do, you know, to people close to me, and you know, and there's some people who never recovered from it. You know, some people did, some people didn't, and at the end of the day, like you know, our people I think suffered the most during that pocket of time. You know, the greatest way to dissolve a family is remove the figureheads from it, whether that be the father or mother. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you remove any of those people, the table gonna be wobbly. It's like if you got a four-legged table, you remove one of the legs, still gonna have a table, but can't lean on it too hard.
Right, right, right. And how did that affect you mentally, like growing up, like just watching that? Like, how did that, like, did it like inspire you to go a different? Well, of course, I'm not saying you use drugs or anything, but like, how did it inspire you for you to like, okay, I really need to get out of this place. I really need to get out of this environment. I need to like not be within this, you know, in
I
this.
mean, like when you used to chaos, you don't know that you're in a chaotic situation. Like, you know, like it was the devils I knew. You know what I mean? And to the point where I was so ignorant about it, and there's only so much I can say, right? Because there's literally like law enforcement involved, right? Because like there was a pocket of time where there was a person in the police department, very similar to the Snowfall situation, that had my dad selling drugs for him. And I was tired of people just randomly coming by the house. And granted, I'm like 6, but I operated like a 14-year-old mentally because New York is just different. Like one day I took all the work and I threw it away. Just didn't think anything of it. Like, this will stop these people from knocking on our goddamn door. And it caused a lot of problems. A lot of problems.
I bet.
And you know, and between point A and point B, and I talk about it on It Follows, like, you know, like me and my mom left my dad in the middle of the night and we went to Far Rockaway, Queens. And it was one of the situations like, hey, you wanna go stay with your granddad for a couple of days? I'm like, yeah, sure. The next thing is like, yo, you wanna go to Texas and go see your grandmother? Yeah, sure. It's still summer. Yo, we were rolling you in school. I'm like, wait, what? You know, like so to my friends who lived in that building I lived in, Tracy Towers, like I was a kid who just disappeared one day. Like after having like one of the best days ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I knew that like that was the last day I was gonna see some of my friends, like I don't know, like I would have like made sure I had their numbers or something like that. But like years later, thank God, Facebook, I was able to track people down. And one thing about New York is because of just how expensive it is to live there, a lot of people still live in live in the building. Like it's nuts because I go back whenever I go. I don't go to Concourse Village, but I go to Tracy Towers. So whenever I go back to Tracy Towers, I still run into some of my homies who still lived in that building, and like even some people from Tracy Towers who because it's funny because like I mentioned it one day on somebody's podcast, and it was a bunch of people like I don't remember seeing him, and then like mad people came out and vouched for me, and even the people and I knew all the right names of the right people. It was like yo blah blah blah, and like I used to hang with such and such and such, you know, like because some of the people were like way older than me, some people were like a little bit after I was there, but I still we you know still knew all the same people, so all that to say that those early years really forged my worldview. It showed me a lot of things not to do, and how to just try to just always just move forward and just chase that thing you're chasing, whatever it is, whether you trying to get a job at Key Food or get on the radio, like do all the things that set you up for the success that you're seeking. It's worked out tremendously.
Obviously. So except for when you trying to go back and get that man bone, dig up that man old skeletons out of the grave when he trying to bury that. You over here and trying to find people on LinkedIn with 9 fingers and stuff and trying to.
I'm a completionist, man. Like if I don't know if you're a gamer or not, but I like to complete the game, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like,
My son is though, and I'm not. So let's switch gears a little bit. Okay, you go from a rapper to a radio personality. In 2011, you started with the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, and up until 2019. How was that?
actually, no. I started with the Reach My Morning show even before that. I was like, yo, that's when I started, and I didn't really think about it. No, like,
You've been on there for a
so
while.
I started in radio. I had a night show called The Show. It was me, this guy named Super K, and this other kid named Kino. And yeah, we're all still cool to this day. I did that show for about 4 years, and sometime around 2004, it gets real fuzzy because it was just a weird pocket of time. And I'm really so good on dates. I can tell you like the date, like somebody stepped on my shoe. Like I am so good with dates, but I cannot tell you exactly what date I started doing the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. All I know is it got to the point where like, all right, we number one at night. What else can we do? I'm bored at this point. And somebody said, "Hey, listen, what if we took you from the night show and put you with Ricky Smiley in the morning?" Because like Steve Harvey was the morning show before that, and he had left the company, so they needed to put a show together really quick. They took me from nights, they put me with Ricky. They added a few other people, Rock T, Gary with the T, and then the women would change out every 4 months or something. Like there was a lot of different female co-hosts that came in and out between point A and point B. But I rocked with that show all the way to 2019. So like let's say 2004 ish somewhere, all the way to 2019.
Okay. How was your experience on that? What are some of your takeaways?
My takeaways is chemistry is important on a show, and I feel like that pocket of time, I think was peak Ricky Smiley morning show with all these particular ingredients. Not saying anything's wrong with the show now, but like, I mean, but even when I was like, read the comments, they'd be like, damn, man, like this particular era. And because everybody has their favorite era. Because like, there was the Ebony Steel era that people liked. There was the, when Brat first came, there was that flow. There was a short run with Claudia Jordan. People like that era. There was a era with Eva Marcel. There was a lady named Sister Sandra that was with us at one point in time. There was and I can't really speak for anything that happened after I left, but everybody, that show is a different show depending when you started listening to it and during what pocket of time you locked in. But the that collection of human beings, I think you'll be very hard pressed to catch that many dynamic personalities and energy and put them in the same room ever again, because it was very truly lightning in a bottle. Like, Gary being Gary, Ricky being Ricky, me being me, Rock T being Rock T. And every female that stepped into that seat brought something dope to it. Like, Ebony was very, like, your favorite girlfriend type of energy. The Brat is the Brat, you know what I mean? Like, got stories about everything and everybody. Eva also has stories, but coming from a different viewpoint and vantage point. So all of that was dope. And like, I was kind of like the person, no matter what was going on in the room, I was the person who can communicate with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just kind of like my thing. So it really taught me how to be a utility, a team player. And that sort of thing is kind of important in any gig. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always going to be about you, but if you do your job well, people will notice. And people noticed. You know what I'm saying? People noticed me. Even if I wasn't the one doing the most of the talking, it would be the little things I say and how I said it that got people's attention. And eventually got, me in the position to get my own show at some point. And I say that in air quotes. But but yeah, so like, I mean, it just taught me, like, patience. teamwork, and humility. Like, I'm not an only child, but I operate like one because I've never lived with all my siblings.
Yeah.
But I know how to. But I know how to play well with others. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. So you left the Ricky Smiley show in 2019, and now you're on Dish Nation, right?
Well, nah. So like, no, Dish Nation was running concurrently with the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. So Dish Nation came about, let's say, 2013. So the first couple seasons was like them, like, well, actually, the first season was them filming our show as we were doing it, and then like using pieces of it for the show. And then as time went by, they started like, you know, changing up a little bit how they would do the content, and it'd be like, all right, we're gonna shoot it after radio, and then this is the story we're gonna talk about. Like, it evolved a lot from like the 6 week test run to like the show that people ended up seeing. Because initially it was about different radio shows across the country, and then because like season one it was like 5 shows, and then by the time we got to probably season two, it was like 3 shows. Then a few years later, it was like 2 shows. Then it became Atlanta, and then it wasn't about radio personalities no more. Now we got Portia with us, who doesn't do radio. She was Real Housewife. So like it evolved into a couple different things as time went by. But like, yo, we had a hellified 14-year run, and like, and that show changed my life. You know what I mean? Like, that show got me, in front of more people that would have never seen somebody, especially like, we talking like season 1 through 4 when I still had dreads. Like, yo, there wasn't the people that looked like me on TV every day. You know what I mean? So I got to represent not only for the culture, but also for people who think you got to look a certain way to be on a nationally syndicated, show. And people gave me mad love.
Okay, okay. Speaking of, life lessons, every lesson comes after a mistake in life. What is your biggest mistake that you said that? Well, what is your biggest lesson? Not your mistake, but what is your biggest lesson that you've learned while being in the industry?
And the crazy thing is, I think the biggest lesson I learned, and I think I learned it early, and I didn't even have to have something happen to me to understand the lesson. Is like, don't burn bridges, because you never know where you'll have to walk back to. You know what I mean? I think that early on in my career, and I wasn't even on the radio yet, right? This is when I'm still like in high school and just shocked that I could even get through on the phone lines to call a radio station, right? So there was a station called 100.3 Jams. This is in Dallas. And they was having a nighttime war with another station called K104. And because they knew I was a person of a certain disrespectful freestyle ability, they was like, yo, do a freestyle about the people in other station. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Terrible thing. The terrible thing. And a person who I said some stuff about felt a way about it for quite some time. Between point A and point B, we pieced it up. But it made me realize that, oh, this person who's at this station might one day end up at this station, or that, or might end up running another station. So it wasn't even that I had to learn, like something terrible happened to me where I had to learn that lesson, but it let me know that, oh, we don't own these things. You might be here for this moment in time, and the next thing you know, you over here. Like, one day you working for, I don't know, T-Mobile, and then T-Mobile gets bought by Nabisco, and you done talk crazy about Nabisco. And now the crackers at Nabisco, and I'm not talking about white people, I'm talking about the actual crackers at Nabisco are now being thrown at you. You know what I'm saying? Because they heard what you said. So with that being said, like, like it just taught me, like, yo, be calculated in your moves and don't be used as a pawn in other people's battles, because them other people didn't do nothing to me. Mm-hmm. I was just shooting because, shoot, you gave me this mic and this platform, and I'm in 11th grade at this time. You know what I mean? So like, like I was too young to be wielding that kind of power and didn't understand that I was being used. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't mad at being used at the moment. But but sometimes when you step back, just with a wiser, with a wiser thought, with a wiser brain on you, you'd be like, oh yeah, oh damn, So if I ever want to get my record played over there, that might not work out because of what I just said. Well, then, that sort of thing.
Right, right, right. So at what moment you got that, recognition that dang, I really made it in the industry. This is, where I belong. This is my moment. This is, this is the moment that I like that first big break. What was that? Let's go back to that mentally.
Yo, so the funny thing is, like no matter what I did, right? I never felt like I made it. So I went from high school to interning at Motown Records. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I went from high school to interning at Polygram Group Distribution, which was the company that distributed for Def Jam and Motown and all that other stuff. And it was a great alley oop, right? And I eventually got, after like my internship tenure was up, they gave me a job at Motown. And most people would have been like, "Mama, we made it. We in the building." But nah, still, I felt like, all right, nah, this is great. This is really great. We're on to something. We're rolling. You know what I'm saying? But there's still more I can do. And it really wasn't until even when I got on the radio, like that, because that was the dream at one point in time. Like, oh man, I wish I could be on the radio and do it nights too. And during that time, we had the freedom to play whatever records we wanted to play. Not the whole show, but part of the show. That was big, but I still felt like, nah, almost, because like living in Dallas and being on the radio is like living in Dallas and working at T-Mobile. It's cool and you get love for it, but they don't love. And back then, they didn't love music and entertainment as much as they love sports.
Okay. Yeah.
Because also this is pre social media, pre internet. So if I'm not talking, like I got more people recognizing me when I'm in the drive through ordering food than I was getting people recognizing me just being outside. Because like there wasn't the YouTube of it all yet. Like like 'cause we're talking 2000, and to anybody who's under 25, that was 100 years ago. So so like I still didn't really feel like I made it. It wasn't until that Dish Nation made it through the 6 week trial and they decided to go to series with it that I felt like, all right, my life is gonna be different after tomorrow. I gotta move a little different. I can't necessarily be spotted at places that somebody that's on television should probably not, be spotted at. You know what I'm saying? That kind of vibe. So it kind of, because I used to find myself in some really wild situations, and it's like, I can't be here no more. Not with you guys. No, I'm out. No. So like that's when I knew things was kind of different, and then this was another level up, and it truly was, man. Like even when I went back home to New York after the show, it kind of took off a little bit. To have people specifically the first time that somebody recognized me from this. I took my family to the Statue of Liberty. Because if you live in New York, you just don't go to the Statue of Liberty. So you have to like leave and then come back as a visitor typically, or go on a school trip, right? So we get off the ferry coming from Statue of Liberty, and there was some people doing like prison detail, like not too far from where the ferry was. And they looked at me like, "Yo, HeadKrack, Dish Nation." And like those were not the people I was expecting to be plugged in. But it
Right.
also isn't lost on me that you're not watching for me, you're watching for portion and cleavage. I get it. However, what I'm saying, the fact that they even knew me and recognized, like it meant a lot. It meant a lot. It told me that okay, cool, people watching, and yeah, man, like like hey, man, you gotta make it rock.
Got to. So you interview so many people in your lifespan of entertainment. If you could go back well, if you haven't already, if you could interview anybody in the world, present or past, who would you interview?
I would love to have interviewed Michael Jackson
Okay.
because Michael Jackson. When I was growing up, like that was like my favorite person. Like if you would have asked me when I was 5, like what I wanted to be when I grow up, I'd have wrote Michael Jackson's friend. Like I wanted to be like one of his homies to be like, "Yo, Mike, you always hanging with crack." You know what I mean? Like, that'd be Mike because Mike has such an ill life, and I would love to just talk to him about nothing that has anything to do with
Music.
music.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about just regular things with him because I understand that certain people are so famous that they never have a regular conversation with people because anytime people rock with you or run into you, they want to talk about that thing that everybody knows you for. You know what I mean? Like if you run into a Mike Tyson, damn man, what was it like to bite an ear? Or like, man, how does it feel to be the youngest champion? Like, yo, like, what's your favorite kind of sandwich, Mike? You know what I'm saying? Like, real regular ass questions just to make people feel human. Because sometimes that's all people want to do is feel human. And like, just imagine like going in a room and you're the most famous person in every room you walk in, and how people will just like, I don't know, and I say be weird, but like just kind of like overdo it just because you are who you are. And so like to be able to try to provide some level of normalcy to somebody who lives a very unnormal life, I think that would have been such a fun conversation. And also like Michael Jackson literally was like my favorite human. Like when I was a kid, like you know what I mean. I had the doll. It was the only doll I had as a boy. Like you know what I'm saying. I had a doll. I had the doll with the red little Captain Crunch jacket with the little gold shit on it. Like I had that and a little glove. I actually had a glove too. Like if I wasn't on my phone, I can show you a picture with me like in my Michael Jackson glove, which I tragically lost at a party in Brooklyn that one night. And not and I thought and at that moment I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And because I took it off to wash my hands because I'm clean. And then I left the glove in the bathroom. And then me and my mom took a cab all the way back from Brooklyn to the Bronx, like back to the Bronx where we lived. And I had a dog and a rabbit at the same time. And somehow the dog got the rabbit out of the cage and murdered the rabbit all over the house. It was the worst night of my life.
I bet it was. Oh my gosh, that was
And then the
terrible.
dog got sick. The dog got sick because it ate the rabbit. Then he had to put the dog down. So I lost my glove, my rabbit, and my dog.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's some traumatic stuff that you went through that in that one night.
One night.
Ugh.
And
Oh
I was literally saying when we got out of the cab, like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. It can't get any worse.
it got worse. That's why you should never say that.
And then we walked in the door. And it's like, yo, why is there puffs of white and blood all over the floor? What happened here? And then like, man, yeah, my dog Lucky, man, my dog Lucky ate the rabbit. I think the rabbit's name was Bugs. I think I like uncleverly named him after Bugs Bunny.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, who was the biggest impact? Who impacted your life the most being in the industry or outside the industry? Let's talk about
Another
personal
Mike.
and industry wise.
So my biggest inspiration growing up was Mike Tyson.
Why?
Because he represented not only dominance, right?
Mhm.
He was the youngest heavyweight champion of all times, and he embraced the hip hop culture in a way that no other boxer prior to him did because hip hop was still very new. I mean, because once again, let's talk about like 1985, 86 when Mike is coming up and rising through the boxing ranks. So you would see him with the rapper dudes rocking the chains like some of your favorite rappers did, and it just connected, and it was just something about whenever he fought, it was just such a spectacle, right? And there was times when he fought, it felt like we were fighting too, and he was fighting for us. And I remember I was staying at my great grandmother's house in Harlem the night he lost to Buster Douglas. And I like after the fight was over, I just went outside just to like I don't know, just sit on a stoop, just think about the future. And then I just heard people, "Yo, Mike's the bomb, man, F Mike." And it's just like, damn, like y'all love this dude right before all that, and now all of a sudden, like somebody have an off night, and now you're bummed. So like, but I never gave up hope. You know what I mean? And like, he eventually got his lick back. Well, not against Buster Douglas. They didn't ever fought again. I wish they would, but he never got his lick back. Um, but to see him go through the different ups and downs that he did, because there was a part of time in the 80s and early 90s, we didn't think he was gonna make it. Like he was just his life was crazy, and um, yeah, but to see where he is now, like after all the things he's been through, is just amazing. And that's what made me pursue the ayahuasca retreat because he had two different podcasts. His first one he launched like back in like 2018, and he was talking about doing this thing called toad, right? Toad is like a some weird frog that you get from South America, and then like there's these glands that it has. Like you extract this venom from its glands, and then you take the toad, and then you have like a out of body experience to where like it kills your ego, and like you get to talk to your higher self, and you get to kind of like spiritually fix everything that's wrong with you a little bit, or like it holds a mirror up to you, but like, yo, this is what's wrong with you, and this is how you fix it. So he did that, and I watched him change when he did it. Like it's almost, I don't know if you're like a superhero person, but to anybody in the chat, there's a difference between Green Hulk and Gray Hulk. Green Hulk is just smash, 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 kill, kill, destroy. Gray Hulk has glasses at the tip of his nose, but he's still a Hulk. But he's smart now. He's been through some things. He can explain it to you without smashing it. And that's the Mike I was listening to. So I was like, ooh, I want some Toad, but I live in Atlanta, and I don't trust anybody that says they have anything for sale. So I'm like, let me look into the most holistic way to have a similar experience. And that's how I found out about some people who was putting together some different ayahuasca retreats. And I did that, and it really helped me out tremendously. It changed my life. And Mike helped me out with that. And I've had the opportunity to meet Mike Tyson a few different times, man. And it was as cool as I would have wanted a Mike Tyson experience to be. I mean, short of, I don't know, me and him fighting somebody together or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like, it was really cool. The first time I met him, like I said something stupid, like even in the same vein of like the Michael Jackson interview, like, yo, what kind of sandwiches you like? Like when I first met him, I was like, yo, I only use you in fight night.
Oh my God, what you told him?
Huh?
That what you told him?
That's what I told him, because I also felt like no one else would have told him that today. But I also could tell because
to remember you by, like, you the dude that. Okay.
So that kind of worked. So fast forward a couple years. So that incident happened. So you remember when Haiti had that terrible earthquake?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it happened a couple times, but they did this big Yele Haiti benefit in Miami, and they had all these different celebrities and influencers come down and work the phone lines for the telethon. So it was like me, Ricky Smiley, Mike Tyson, Chris Brown. Like, it was a really weird hodgepodge of people all there, like doing like support work.
Yeah.
Herbie Lovebug was there, like, and I had never met Herbie Lovebug before. He produced for Salt and Pepper and all them. So it was like, wow, like, and it's Mike Tyson. That's crazy. And I could definitely tell he was still like going through some things at that time. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was my icebreaker for him. But then I ran into him a couple years later at Comic-Con, and I was like chilling, and we were in the same room, and he was on a balcony, like smoking a cigarette. It was like one of them, like big open rooms where you could walk out, and then like there was like a long balcony. And he's like, hey, brother, do I know you from somewhere? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm here with this TV show, man. Like, yo, man, you got a cartoon coming out, man. Can we interview you real quick? He's like, yeah, sure, no problem, no problem. So like, I interviewed him like real quick for Dish Nation, and then like some Asian dude who worked for Cartoon Network was like, yo, who said you could interview Mike Tyson? I said, Mike. They won. And then I got a chance to meet him again in Vegas. He was at some spot like signing autographs, and I got a picture with him. And he also signed this like championship belt. It's literally like in the other room over there.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That is so cool. And we talked about Mike wildest moment as far as like the ear situation, most viral moment about him. So let's talk about your wildest moment on air. What was the wildest moment that you would ever encounter on air that happened to you?
Okay, there's two, and they're on the opposite ends of the extremes, right? So first one, so when I'm still doing nights, me, Super K, and Kino were always just thinking outside of the box. And because we weren't syndicated, we was local, we had a lot more freedom than most people. We would do things like, all right, so our show got off the air at 10 o'clock. We'd be like, yo, we about to go to the Jack in the Box or for 360 and Collins. Meet us in the parking lot. We're all black. Then we show up and we buy like jumbo jacks for everybody. It was $1. So like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, it was dope doing stuff like that. So like one night, it was like the 7 year anniversary of the passing of Tupac,
Mm-hmm.
and I found some rare Tupac interviews that like I ain't never heard before. So I'm like, yo, what if we take this interview and cut it up and be like, Tupac came back, and yo, we promoted it for like a week and a half. Like, yo, on September 13th, Tupac is back. And then like we cut it all up, and then like in the station back then, we was inside of a mall. So like anytime we had guests, people would come outside and you could see them in the studio. So that particular night we put curtains up so nobody could see it. And then like and we was running pieces of the interview, and like we chopped it up so cleverly to where like, yo man, so the whole time you was hiding out, Mike. I mean, Mike. The whole time you was hiding out, Pac. Who are you thinking about? He's like, Janet Jackson, Janet Jackson, Janet Jackson. So basically, the interview was like from like some like run when he was promoting Poetic Justice, the movie he did with Janet Jackson. But the things he was saying lent energy to like, all right, if you set the questions up right, it'll be like dope. You know what I mean? And it could fit the narrative that we trying to paint. So yo, after we did the first break, peek outside. There's a few people outside. After the second break, it's like triple the amount of people that were initially outside. By the time the fourth break came, it's like, yo, man, it's like 150 people outside right now. Like they trying to get up there. But it was always our intent to at the end of the interview to be like, and if he was here, that's probably how that would have happened. And we did do that, but yo, people were so mad at us for and once again, this is like right before YouTube. So let me tell you how crazy radio is.
Okay.
We had to like explain to people like, yo, we should put the things we do on YouTube. It'll help more people find us that don't live here. And they're like, no, put it on the station website because we want to drive traffic to the website. But no one really goes to the website. If we put it on YouTube, people might actually find the show that don't live here. No, like what's YouTube? It's not gonna last. And like, yo, that was like most of my radio career, like me like explaining something to people that would eventually pop. Like, yo, there's this thing called Twitter, right? Can we say our Twitter's on the air? No, because it's self promotion and, and send people to the website. And then like fast forward a few years later, like, yo, follow me at blah 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 blah. Like we fought for so many things that became the norm, and we were right the entire time. But these people were so damn smart. All that to say, so that was wild. That Tupac thing was wild. The second wild thing happened, like, you know, latter half of my radio run. We did a interview with Kaylani, who, you know, I knew beforehand that, you know, she kind of has some rough days mentally. And yo, this industry will do it to you. The world will do it to you. So I'm very sensitive to that sort of thing when people go through things. We did one interview with her during the pandemic, went swimmingly well. Then there was another time where she came to promote. I forgot what the project was, but you know, I'm a good interviewer, so I'm gonna listen to the project. I'm gonna pick my favorite songs. I'm gonna have my notes, and then I also peeped that during this time, she did that switch up thing where people like, yo, don't address her as such and such. She's now them or whatever. You know, like she identifies as like multiple pronouns. So in the intro of her introduction, I was like, hey, she is in the building. I don't even remember the verbiage, right? But I just wanted to make sure I checked every box, and I didn't even do it in a messed up, slick, snarky way. Because anybody know me, like if I got beef with you, you know I got beef with you. I did not have beef with this woman. But you know what I'm saying? Like I was just trying to make sure that, hey, listen, I did my research and I understand how you want to be addressed. And I guess she took that weird, but that was also toppled with the fact that they showed up an hour and a half early for the interview. Like, you know, because we was like, yo, you know, we pre-tape the interviews. We don't put people on live because, you know, you can get more content out if you just record it when the show is over, cut the parts out that you need for the show, and then put everything else online. So, like, if they were supposed to come at 10, they came at 8:30. So there was probably a component of like they was a little cranky for having to sit around for an hour and a half, and then you just think I just slugged on you with your pronouns, which I didn't. And then my co-host at the time wasn't making things better either with her line of questioning, because she's always trying to get that aha moment. And it was just a terrible interview because her energy was bad. I'm trying to conflict resolute everything, and it was just like, yo, like nothing was gonna shake that day. And then even like from the radio side of things, I'm like, yo, listen, if you're gonna put that interview up, put up this disclaimer that I want to put up to address, the elephant in the room before the interview starts. Like, hey, what you're about to see is going to be weird, and just so I can paint the picture for you, da 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 da, and so you can go into it with some context. These freaking idiots didn't do it. They just put it up the way it was, and I was very pissed off about that because my opinion matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am here. Like, my name is on the show. The affiliates that we have are because of my relationship with the affiliates that, decided to pick up the show. So I'm going to need y'all to listen to me a lot. And that was part of the reason why I left that show. Talk about not the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, the other show after that. That's the reason why I left that show, because like it was just thing after thing after thing. And at the end of the day, I know my worth. And I put in too much work to not be respected. And I put in too much work to, let people play games, because there was definitely people on the corporate side of things that like were like playing games because they didn't get what they wanted out of a situation. And I'm like, yo, listen, I caught you in too many lies, fam. Like, I'm not gonna let you bring me down with your Titanic, because like when they launched that show without me, it was failing, in the very beginning of it. And when I jumped on, numbers went up. We picked it up because like they were supposed to launch two shows at the same time, and something happened with one of the other people that was responsible for putting the other show together. So like I became somebody else's problem, who I realized later on down the road, like, oh, this nigga don't like me. Oh, I get it, because I'm such an optimist, right? Because I don't do nothing to nobody. I'm here to help. So I didn't really understand that like all this weird energy I was always feeling was like, oh, this man's disdain for me. Noted. Write everything down. Keep receipts. Moving forward. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was the other thing. Yeah, like I hated that. I hated that interview left that taste in her mouth, and I hated the way that interview made me feel, because I knew what my intention was, and I never like want to like make sure. I want people to feel better because we had an interaction, not worse.
Right.
And I hated that there was not, like, however she was feeling about that interaction was truly out of my control. And if I could have did it all over again, maybe I wouldn't have mentioned the pronoun. I don't know. I was just trying to be thorough. You know what I mean? And if my trying to be thorough, stepped on a toe or two, I apologize for that. But that truly wasn't, what I was going for.
So have you spoken with her? Have y'all ran across each other paths like at any point?
Nah, not since then. Nah, because like I know she had swore off doing interviews, because like I think that wasn't the only bad interview she had that run, from what I understand. But so I know she swore for interviews for a minute, but then I just saw like she's promoting something right now, and I think I seen her with Kai Cenat doing something on his stream, like they was doing like a dance or something like that. So like maybe she's back at it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, like I said, everybody has their seasons. People grow. Just like how like I understood how wrong I was for throwing my homeboy hat off the bus, despite how I felt about what he did. Like, like, so sometimes, like you'll be like, all right, maybe I was on one that day. Let me do the things I need to do to make the thing shake. So, it is what it is. I'm not a psychiatrist. I just play one in my head.
Well, maybe y'all are cross paths at any given point in life, to where y'all can reconcile, and she'll be able to be like, okay, well,
Yeah, I
we
hope so.
we grown from this, and that ain't what it is no more. So speaking of like going back in the past, if you can pick any year or any moment in your life, like would you pick a moment to where it's like, okay, I would redo this, I would make a better choice in this, I would, not to make this choice, I would go this route. Like if it's something, if God gave you that moment to where he's like, okay, you can pick any year in your life or any thing in your life to where you're able, I can take you back to where you're like, okay, I'm gonna let you have the opportunity to change this about your life. What would you do, and would you do it?
The funny thing is, I think about that a lot, right? And the year that I would go back to changes, and it's not even that I would change anything. I would just cherish certain moments differently because I feel like everything in my life happened the way it was supposed to happen. Even going down to my parents forging some paperwork to make sure I went to school a year earlier. Because my birthday in December, I was supposed to go to school like next
Oh,
year. Yeah, I was supposed to go to school like I'd have been like a big ass kindergartner. Like
for sure.
if things would have played out the way it was supposed to play out. However, they did some little blah blah blah, and I was the youngest person in my class my entire like scholastic run, and it was my amazing friends who I had that aided me and abetted me into everything I wanted to do. Like I have always felt supported. Like if I wanted to go here, my friends wanted to go here too, and and that's why we still tight. Most of us, except the nine finger friend, we're still tight to this day, and and I definitely wouldn't have changed that because sometimes I think about like I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Butterfly Effect.
No, like the
Where,
thing, the crazy part about it is my black card really supposed to be revoked. It get revoked every time I talk to people.
it's
So,
not a black movie, so
oh, see,
your
that's
black you still got it. You still got it. Ashton Kutcher's in it. The only thing black about it is the themes. It's black as hell. It's dark. So like the movie roughly is about a guy who, um, like there's this girl he likes, and he grew up with her since they were kids, and like now they're like in college, and they're like getting more serious, and then something happens, and somebody dies, right? And then like something happens to where he can go back in time and change one thing. And every time he changes one thing, it messed up something else. So like, all right, so you saved that person from getting hit by a car, but now this other terrible thing happens, and then you go back to try to fix that, then this other terrible thing happens. So all that to say, like, if I went back to try to fix something that I thought was wrong, what do I make not happen because I fixed it? Like what if I didn't throw away the work? What if what if I was like, yo, I don't want to go to Far Rockaway, Queens? What if I was like, no, I don't want to go visit grandma? Like I wouldn't have met certain people. What if I didn't call my wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, like the girl who I met at this DJ battle. What if I took a number and threw it away? And you know what I'm saying? Like, what I've had the support system that I needed to have between point A and point B. Like everything that's happening to everybody right now, it's all part of God's plan. And you're supposed to learn something from all the things that happen. So like as much as I would like to have seen certain things different, I wish my mother was still alive, like I wish, but all good and bad, all of these things are supposed to happen. And like I just don't know what I would change, like I would have never left that show so I could still have money, like that type of money. Like, no, like I was supposed to leave that show. Me leaving that show put me in a position where I could do another thing that I truly love, and that's game shows. Like I was the voiceover for Pictionary for season 3. I got to do 25 words or less. I got to go on a cruise finally. You know what I mean? Like, so, like I wouldn't change a thing. It's all supposed to happen.
okay, okay.
What would you change?
Um, me, I would change. I think like I don't know because I was such a late bloomer when it came down to maturity. So like making better decisions, like like factoring, like I'm big on ignoring. That's one of my toxic traits. I ignore red flags. Like I be like, how God be like, don't touch that, don't touch. You know how you tell a child, don't touch that, don't touch that. I'm like, you still touch me, like, dang, now and then you go to the person that told you not to. You crying and upset. The baby go crying and upset to the person that told you not to do it, and you still do. That's how I am hard headed. I'm hard headed, and I can take accountability for that because I'm like, nah, it's especially like being in the industry, because I was in the industry off and on 18, but I'm 34 now, and I'm just starting to take it serious. I'm like, okay, I can't escape this. Something is, my gym is something, is in here somewhere within this industry. So I'm gonna go and try to whatever. But like I feel like I have to watch how genuine I am to people because it's like no, no,
Yeah.
no, and they be like, yeah, yeah, girl, that's a wolf, and it's like, no, 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 they just want to be loved, and so I make excuses for people, and I prioritize people ahead of my own needs and wants, opposed to myself, But I have that type of heart. I be wanting to like love on people and give people, so I'm like, yeah, but that's just me, So I would definitely change a lot of things because to be honest with you, I had my first child at 16. So me making adults decision at a premature age, not knowing what I'm going into, just the surroundings of my circle at that time, it was like, oh yeah, no. I was a tomboy. The people that I was around, it was like making sex so cool. And it was like, I just I'm not understanding, like I'm not mature for that. But when I got pregnant, my child forced me to like, okay, you gotta, because I
Get
don't,
together.
right, and I don't drink or smoke like at all. Like I don't care what scene I'm on, I would not drink or smoke. Like give me a lemonade spray. I'll be at a bar somewhere, and I'm not even a club person. I'm like, give me a lemonade, give me that.
Yeah.
Like yeah, so I feel like because a lot of that is spewed over to my kids, so a lot of them like I'm hurt still trying to find myself, but I'm like, hey, my kids, I got 3 kids now, so I'm like, oh, I'm 3 different personalities, so I can't treat this child, I can't nurture this child when this person is mad the way that I nurture my second child, or so it goes hand in hand. But me being mature, making better decisions, I feel like that would be something that I would change. But like you said, you had me thinking like, yeah, had none of this ever fell in place, God, I wouldn't be here interviewing you and other people, so that's dope. You really helped me. Like, okay, dang, you changed my mindset within that second. Like, dang, I shouldn't even look. Because if you look at stuff like that, you tend to lay on the guilt, and I don't want guilt,
Yeah.
keep living inside of me. Like, dang, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, no, what you could do now. So speaking of that, let's talk about the gems that you're able to drop for people that's like holding on
Okay.
to guilt and just anger, or just not like knowing how to move from that toxic past, or just trying to hold on to their old ways and moving on, moving forward to new blessings. Like, how do you navigate through that?
I mean, I think sometimes you have to, you got to kill your old habits, and sometimes the old habits are people who keep you in bad habits. There's some people who operate in a space of misery loves company. So, like, yo, if I'm bad, I want you to be over here doing bad with me too. And, you have to kind of like have the, what do they call that, the discernment to know when you're around that kind of energy. You know what I mean? Like, there was a friend who I had to create some distance from, about 6, 7 months ago, just to kind of teach them a lesson, but also to protect myself. Because similar to you, I always try to look for the best in people. Look for the, even when you talk about the wolf thing, I was like, maybe a wolf, but I bet you if you rub a wolf belly, man, it'll do that little leg kick thing that dogs do. If you rub the belly right, you know what I'm saying? But you might get bit. It's a risk. Everything is a risk. And, I think we as people, we take risk on people, hoping for the best. Same way you take risk on buying a lotto scratch off, hoping that it'll save $500 when you scratch 3 identical things. It's, I think it's in our nature innately to want to do for people and want to help people. And if it's people, and if you're not one of those people, I mean, no problem. Maybe things happen in your life to put that guard up for you early to where like, yo, I don't help nobody because I got burnt when I was 2, and like whatever your path is that got you to this worldview that you in right now. Like, I can't knock it. That was your journey. You know what I mean? But like, yo, there's been mad people who done me right. There's been mad people that done me wrong, but that don't change how I operate. I'm gonna show up for people even when it's uncomfortable sometimes. If I say I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna show up. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give everybody the benefit of the doubt, even if I heard things about them before I encountered them. And at the end of the day, like, I think I get more great interactions than I do bad interactions. I can count on one hand the people I want to kill. And that's the most honest thing I can say to you right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the people I want to kill is just on one hand. And out of all the people that I interact with, I think that's a good average. That's a very good, because I interact with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And like, I've lived in mad different places, and there's only 5 people that I want to kill. Like 5, just 5 of them. I'll never name them. I won't name them publicly, but yeah.
If you can get away with murder, huh?
Yo, if the purge was real, right?
Oh
If the
God.
purge was a real thing, and everybody got a knife, you know what I mean? But shoot, I might be on somebody's list, but I work really hard every day to make sure I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I get it though. I truly get it because it's like, man, when you just going through the motion and just trying to like do the internal work and trying to learn untoxic behavior, then trying to stay focused. How do you balance that? Like, how do you still work on you, still take care of you, and then having to go out and be like, okay, I got these projects I got to do, I got this, just so much, this family I got to take care of, whatever it is. How do you unwind? What do you do to stay like focused on like self-care and internal work and all of that?
I mean, I think there's some days where I'm better with it than others
Mhm.
because I'm an overachiever. There's a lot of things that get left on the table that don't get completed from the day to day. You know, I try to start every day off by like whether it's like going to work out or knocking out something that is like a very big, like, oh, this is important, I gotta get this out of the way. Like, what, I try to like handle the me stuff first because I know the world's gonna be coming at me fast from 8:30 a.m. till about 10 o'clock at night. So, take care of yourself first so you can take care of everybody else. And there's a lot of times in the day where I might have to stop and pivot because, this kid might need something, that kid might need something else, this kid might need something else, work need this, somebody need a flyer, somebody wants to call, talk longer than you actually allocated in your brain that a phone conversation is supposed to last. And, it is exhausting sometimes. It really truly is. And I wish I could say I got it all mastered. I don't. But like every day is trial and error. You just keep showing up, not only for yourself, but you show up for others, and you just try to get as much as you can done. Was telling somebody the other day, my biggest, the thing that makes me the saddest is I only like have one life because I have so many things I want to do, so many things, and like there's a lot of people who have that one thing that they do, and they just do it very hard. Pause. Um, and that's it. But like, yo, I want to do music. I want to make movies. I want to like produce game shows. I want to get back in radio. I want to I want to be a energy healer. I want to do Reiki. You know what I'm saying? I want to actually like no, I'm serious. I want to be able to rub my hands together like Mr. Miyagi, and I want to be able to take away your trauma and do a little energy ball and throw it. Like I want to be able to do those things, and those things take time and they take commitment. And like every time I like tackle something new, I shut a lot of things down so I could focus. Like there was a pocket of time right before Side Dish took off that I was starting to do stand up. Like I'm literally like getting off a dish, going to these open mics, jotting some jokes down, memorizing them, and then completely freestyling a set, and like using none of the material I wrote. But like when I was doing that, I wasn't working on music. I wasn't, man, there was a lot of things I wasn't doing because, you got to lock in. So, so all that to say, anybody working on something, especially something new, you gotta like limit the distractions so you can like really try to master the new craft that you're trying to get down with. Like if you look behind me, like you probably don't ever hear me about me DJing much, but like there's turntables behind me. Because yeah, I also DJ. I just don't talk about it because I don't want people booking me. Like, no, it's not that I don't want people booking me. It's the fact that like, yo, I'll show up, I'll do it. You know what I mean? But it does require a lot of time and energy. But in order to learn how to do that, I took a class for 18 weeks because I take everything seriously. Like when I like did the celebrity boxing thing, I wasn't doing nothing. I fought people for 6 months. Fought people and got fought. Like there was quite a few times I went in there and sparring and got my ass kicked. But that's how you get better. You face people that are better than you, and you get better in real time. And that's in every aspect of life. Steel sharpens steel. Do not be the best person in your crew. Have people around you that are better than you so you can learn.
That's the thing. Like I was just like I told you, I was like 18 off and on. Let's go to somebody that can relate to it too. But I was like I was 18 off and on. I'm here 34. Like now, I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this big break gonna happen? Like the tiresome of the process is like
Mm-hmm.
restraint part of like you're like okay I'm trying to move forward keep pushing because it's like people I feel like people get the misconception of they look at the videos and stuff the stuff that I post and like they're not understanding like the background like the mental drain and then, like you're like okay you really don't have that moment to yourself because when you do go to these events you still have to be a mama you still have to identify yourself and will learn who you are and make sure that this is the right path that you're going down so I feel like, I'm just trying to figure out that motivation. Like I understand, like, okay, what motivate me is, me thinking like, okay, I've been here since 18 off and on. I'm going to these events, which I don't complain about because I love being in the industry. I love doing all of that. But it's like, okay, when the big break gonna come through? Okay, God,
I
anytime.
mean, what do you feel like the big break is? Like, because like a lot of times when people, and I'm not saying that this is your situation, right? A lot of times people wish for money, right? And that's the wrong prayer and intention. You want to wish for the opportunity to create the lane that brings you those extra things. And there's somebody who's probably and the spirit that you have about it is great because you have these things that you aspire to do to be bigger. But there's somebody who's looking at you right now like, damn, I want to be like you. So, it's all a matter of perception. You may not be exactly where you want to be in your head, but you're a lot further along than a lot of people who are looking at, your situation, wishing they knew how to like do a split screen TikTok live, go to events, find out where events are. There's some people who don't get the emails about where events are going to be, and they don't even know how to get there. So sometimes, we can like spend so much time looking at where certain people are to where we don't realize how dope we are where we're at, and we're just, some of us take the fast lane, some of us take the scenic route. You know what I mean? I'm one of them people who feel like, I took the scenic route. I got a chance to learn about so many parts of the business and I'm still not exactly where I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I've been, and I'm optimistic about where I'm going. So, like, long as you still like have a smile when you think about the things you got to go do, or the next event or the next interview, that means your head and your heart's in the right place because you're doing it because you love it, and if you love it, it's gonna love you back. You just gotta keep showing up. Like, shoot, I thought I was gonna like have a limo picking me up from school by the time I was in 11th grade because I was so good at rapping. However, that wasn't what that's not what God wanted for me. If I'd have had that, I'd have been Young Berg or something. And I don't even say that as a slight, but that's the only name I can think of in real time. And he's actually doing really well for himself.
Yeah.
But I could think of nobody who like had a terrible run at it, and I don't want to make it seem like I was punching down at somebody like who's dead or something. But yeah, like it wasn't meant for me to have the things I wanted when I was in the 11th grade. Because I'd have been a maniac. Because this is the same person who like was handed a mic and said, "Yo, diss the people at the other station. Don't mind if I do." Blah, 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 blah. Like so, like you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
it's not. Yeah, it's not always time for all the things you want when you want it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, long as you still got breath in your lungs and aspirations and the energy to still pursue, the game is still on. It ain't over.
Yeah, and that's what I keep telling myself because I had told somebody because I did like some acting or whatever on the side and stuff. I love acting too, but I told him I don't feel like I wouldn't feel like I made it. Like if Tyler Perry was to be like, I want you a part of a movie or something, that would be dope. That would be great, a part of my resume and all that stuff. However, but I wouldn't feel like I made it until I get a humanitarian award where I've helped people and I changed somebody's life. It's not really money that, I'm focused on. It's more so of how many lives can I impact while I'm here. And with that being said, the legacy that you have created, what is something that you want people to remember you by?
I think in a similar space as you, right? Like, I just want to be able to help greenlight people's dreams. You know what I mean? Like, the true value or measure of success for me is for me to be able to not only make it happen for myself, but for me to be able to make it happen for other people. You know what I mean? Like, similar to like how Tyler Perry, like he can change somebody's life by giving him an opportunity to act in a thing. And look at it, and like, if you ever been to Tyler Perry studios, to see all these different sound stages, names of just like all these prolific, African Americans throughout history who've like made some level of an impact in entertainment is just so dope to see him give back in that way and create so many jobs with so many people that look like us. And that is the true measure of what power is. Power isn't about the things you can buy, but it's the things that you can create. You know, like God ain't God because he's rich. God is God because God creates. So if I can create situations for people to where like, oh word, you trying to do what? You know what? I can make that happen. Let me call a couple people. Boom, boom, boom. Or word, we got the resources to make that happen. Let's make. To me, that's really what I am really truly doing this for, because it's never been about me. Like, I got into radio so I could meet Maya and play people's music that I thought was dope. Like, literally. And because I set bars so low, I met Maya in the first 2 years of doing radio, and I was like, "Well, damn, now what?" And then we broke a lot of people like records, like that like was on the like on the streets. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, like, okay, now what else? Okay, maybe we could be number one. Okay, now we're number one. So what else we're gonna do around here? Let's act like Tupac's alive. Like so like so when you set weird goals and you surpass the goals, it's never gonna be enough if you like put the goal based on like monetary things. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I remember like there was a pocket of time I was like, yo, I just want to do a cartoon. And then one year, the same year I was at Comic Con and met Mike Tyson, I literally was telling one of the camera people who was with me from Dish Nation, like, man, I want to be on Archer. 20 minutes later, I'm in line. I'm talking to somebody about something, and this guy's like, hey, are you from Atlanta? It's like, no, nah, not from Atlanta, but I live there. And he's like, hey, my name's Casey. Like, I work on a show called Archer. You ever thought about doing cartoons? And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then like 4 or 5 weeks later, I'm like walking into a studio to like voice a character on Archer. And then now I've done a cartoon. So it's like, ooh, what am I gonna do next? What's next? What am I gonna do next? Maybe I'll box on television. Am I on like a reality show or something? And then that happened, but it ended up not being a reality show person. It ended up being a real fighter. But it went well because I'm a psycho. Like I lean in. I do like I do the work, or I figure out how to win. To do the things. You know what I mean? Like preparation meeting opportunity. You know what I mean? Like long as you like are prepared for whatever may come your way, and you don't make excuses to why something can't get done, you'll go so far, and that's for everybody.
Okay. Okay. And I just want to go to the chat to see, do anybody have some questions that HeadKrack before I let him go, because I know I didn't exceeded my time with him.
Nah, I appreciate the love. Shout out to Brent Middleton. I saw him in the chat earlier. He said he was just stopping through and showing some love, man. Appreciate it, yo. Shout out to Southern Bookworm as well.
Hey, Cece. Hey, boo.
What up, CC?
Monique is my cousin. She's a huge Michael Jackson fan, so I'm surprised she didn't even get active with that. Like, she is a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me see if I can find. Like, I hate that. Like how like on your phone, right? You could like type in white glove, and then like the picture will show up on the thing. Like, I wish there was like, because I know I have this picture on my computer somewhere too, with like me, like my little dry ass Jerry curl in my Michael Jackson glove. Like, yo, man, I thought I was one. Like, I thought I was a seventh Jackson. You couldn't tell me no different. You can tell me no different. Like, and when they put Randy Jackson in the mix, I think that's what it was. That was like the last Jackson that came, because it was the Jackson 5, and then like by the time the Victory album came out, they added a sixth Jackson. It was the youngest brother Jackson. Like, I was like, yo, where he come from? That's what my spot. And I know I'm six, but that was my spot. I was such a huge Michael Jackson fan. Yo, when he got burnt up in that Pepsi commercial, yo, man, I feel like I got burnt up in a Pepsi commercial. Like it hurt my heart. Like it's like you know.
So what celebrity?
Uh
How? But what celebrity death did affect you?
Probably the death that affected me the most. It's a tie. It's a tie between Notorious Big and Michael Jackson. Um, yeah, because like like when you go back to like the late '90s, like people weren't dying like that per se. Not in that way. Like the Tupac thing was bad, but kind of like if like the bus schedule. I'm waiting till you come back and finish my sentence. Somebody really trying to call her. Hopefully it's not about her vehicle warranty. There you go. You back? You good? Up. Man, trap booming for real. In the chat, let us know what celebrity death affected y'all the most. But yeah, so like in the late '90s, you weren't used to seeing people go like that. Like Tupac, kind of like if you like know the bus schedule, you expected it. Like yeah, that track. You know what I mean? Cause like just because everything that was going on in his life, you know what I'm saying, during that time is like, and I hated that it happened the way it did because it was very preventable. But Big's death affected me a lot because like he was my favorite rapper during that time, and even now he's still my favorite rapper. But there's a lot more rappers now, and that have more than 2 albums to listen to. But I like that big death crushed me. It really did because I didn't see it. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. And then Michael Jackson's death was like I thought it was just an ill promo for his concert. Like I remember where I was. Like I was in Miami when Michael Jackson died, and it rained all that day in Miami. And if you live in Miami, it's gonna rain at some point. But it rained all day. Like and it just affected the way food tasted for me. Like because like it's like damn, like you just would have never imagined it would be a time when Michael Jackson wouldn't be alive.
Right.
He
Absolutely.
might have looked weirder as he got older, but he'd have been here though. Still, you know what I mean? Like just imagine if Mike had Instagram. Like what if Mike was on TikTok right now?
Mm, mm. The impact, the impact. Somebody said,
Yeah,
Cece said, I was so mad I didn't get to see Michael J. or Prince before they passed in concert. I know, me too. My cousin
man.
said, ooh, I was sick that day. Yeah, she really was. She's,
Yo, so here's two quick stories, real quick. So once again, huge Michael Jackson fan. So me and my Michael Jackson glove um, went to Texas one summer to go see Michael Jackson. My grandmother took me, right? And you know how they show videos of people fainting, when Mike come out.
yeah.
So I went to the show and apparently had such good of a time
Hmm.
that I don't remember the show. So I was talking to my grandmother about a year or two ago. I was like, "Yo, you remember that time you took me to some convention center to get a Michael Jackson booklet?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? We went to the concert." And I'm like, "You took me to the Michael Jackson concert?" She's like, "Yeah, we had to tell you multiple times to sit down." Because I guess I was like dancing in the aisle, doing all the cool. Because I knew it all, like, like
Right.
I knew all of the choreography. But apparently, I was so excited to be there that I blacked out the whole thing. Like yo man, and I have amazing memory. Like it's actually scary the things I remember. And the thing that I cared about the most, I don't remember doing and seeing. Because I thought it was odd for us to just go to a place and get a concert brochure. I thought it was really weird for that to be the play, right? And because even my aunt, who's the same age as me, she was like, "Yeah, like yo, like 3 times." They people had to like, and she would. They wasn't in on it, you know what I'm saying? Didn't get in the huddle, but like, yo, telling me when to go see Michael Jackson, but he really like took a nap. They're like, nah, like, but apparently, like, I was just so excited that I blacked out because, like, man, because I think I would have remembered him doing Thriller in front of me. I really would have. Not saying we was front row or anything, but like I think, I don't remember it. But I remember getting the booklet because he had a crown on, and he was like sitting on like a little throne thing. I remember all that, but I don't remember the concert. Blacked out. So that's the Michael Jackson story. And then also my mother took me when she was pregnant. Clearly don't remember that. However, so Prince, and anybody's a hardcore Prince fan knows where he did his last show at. Drop it in the chat. So he was scheduled to play at the Fox Theater on whatever day he was supposed to play at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got sick and they rescheduled the date.
Oh.
No problem. No problem because my tickets would still be on it because I bought them and I had great seats.
Right.
The day that they moved the concert to was the same weekend as Coachella. And Coachella tickets are kind of hard to get. And I had like VIP Coachella tickets. And the hotel, the flight, like everything was bought. So this would have been like a $4,500 L I would have took if I didn't go to Coachella. So I was like, you know what? I'll sell these Prince tickets and I'll just see him next time. That was literally his last show. Like his last actual show. And I was so crushed over that because even when I was like starting like in my early years of radio, somehow I just always kept missing Prince. Never met him. I remember he did his thing at this place called the Gypsy Tea Room. It was like a little private thing he did, and the station had some sort of connect to go, but it was just like, I don't know. That might be weird. I'd rather see him in a different scenario, and I didn't go that time either, and I just can't believe that, like, I fumbled the last. I mean, I didn't fumble it. The university didn't want me to see Prince. Yes, I just had to watch Purple Rain a bunch more times.
So do you feel like Chris Brown is the Michael Jackson of this generation?
I mean, like, that's a weird label to put on somebody. Chris Brown is the Chris Brown of this generation.
On the internet. They be saying that on the internet. They be comparing him to Michael Jackson. That's what they be saying.
I think we always want to compare somebody. It'd be young people doing that, right? Like, it'd be young people trying to, like, be like, yo, man, Mike was cool, but he ain't no Chris Brown. Like, yo, Chris Brown is an unusual anomaly that, I don't think, we'll never see the exact same thing again. Like, Chris Brown is Chris Brown. Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. CZ said, have I ever met Bobby Brown? Yeah, I have met Bobby Brown. Actually, so interviewing New Edition was like literally the last interview that I did while I was on the radio. And it was all of them too. Like Bobby, Ronnie, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, Johnny. I think I named everybody. And I'm all.
We can't hear. I can't hear you. Y'all can hear? I can't hear. What happened? Hold on, y'all. He was getting good, and I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. What you did different?
Nothing. I turned the Bluetooth off. That was really weird. So I don't know where you lost me, but yeah. So the last radio interview I did was like with all them people: Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, Johnny. So all of them there. So it was like so dope. Bobby Brown, he's such an icon. Bobby Brown. But guess who my neighbor is? And I'm such a huge New Edition fan. Not literally my next door neighbor, but like behind my house across the field. Oh, okay. Who? Not Bobby Brown. Ronnie.
I said it.
Yo, and he's so damn cool. Like, you'll just see him in the neighborhood jogging. Like, like when the kids was little, they pushing the kids in the stroller. And that was one of those, we talk about like when did I feel like I made it? Like, I'm not gonna say I felt like I made it, but like I got cool neighbors. You know what I'm saying? There's some cool people that live in my subdivision. It's like, wow, that's cool. So like, yes, I love that component.
Yeah, I met Bobby at a concert. At that time, it was Bobby. We was in VIP, and I was able to go backstage because I was a brand ambassador for a radio station. And it was crazy because he was still grieving Bobby Christina, and then crazy part part about it, Bobby Jr. was with him, and he was so good. Like Monique was with me. She was my cousin Monique, the Southern Bookworm girl. She was with me, and like she didn't go backstage, but I did. Well, yes, she did. I did, but I don't think she got a chance to meet him. But he was so sad. Like he was trying to push through the pain, but you could tell he was like really going through it. And it was
like. I think the fact that we even still have Bobby Brown with us is like it's just a blessing and amazing because like you're right, his brother's been through a lot and he took a lot of arrows that he didn't have to take during because even when Whitney was going through the things that she was going through, a lot of people assumed that a lot of that was Bobby's fault, but like she had as big of a problem as he did, if not worse. And, and he refused to throw her under the bus, because that's just the type of dude he is, man. And when you could defend yourself rightfully so, and you choose not to, just to protect somebody you love, that just, it speaks volumes.
Yeah, it do, because I still have a lot of reputations. I don't protect them because people have hurted me, but I don't care. Okay, so CC said your favorite of them all, out of all of them.
So that's a tough one. That's almost like picking your favorite song again. We're back on that again. I'm gonna say Ronnie because like I see him the most. And like during the pandemic, he would call and check on me. I felt, yo, man, so I'd play it cool on the phone, right? Like, yo, what up, bro? Yeah, I'm good. Everybody chilling. Yeah. Man, yo, thank you, man. Bring the kids over anytime. I'm such a fan. And the fact that he still looked like himself from back in the day, still be doing the moves. I always felt like growing up, I felt like my spirit animal out of that group was Michael Bivins. Because he was like the hip hop guy. He was like the rapper in the group, per se. You know what I mean? Like, you said what?
They going on here with Tony Braxton.
Yep, Tony Braxton and Boys the Men.
Yeah, I met them too. I met Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like, they cool. Like, all of them are cool. I haven't met Tony, though. Have you?
Never met Tony, but Tamar's the homie. And actually, I got a crazy record with Tamar that hopefully I'll put out this upcoming year.
Okay. Well, we only got 30 days now. With day we got to watch your page.
No, not this calendar year, but like 2026. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna attach it to, like, I'm entertaining the idea of doing like a real female accessible project, but I just don't know. I don't know if I want to lean all the way into my rub your beard before you rap mode, or if I want to just put that song in there to balance out some other records. But I'm figuring it out in real time.
Okay, before I let you go, you just opened up a gym. How is that going? Are you excited?
Oh man, it stresses me out. It's the bane of my existence. The gym has actually been open for a while. I just bought into a franchise, and and anybody in the fitness arena will tell you that typically November and December are very slow months in that industry because everybody's traveling and they're like, I'm gonna eat the food I'm gonna eat. I ain't really caring about the working out that much. And then January, February it ramps back up. So we acquired it in August. Had a really good August. Had an okay September. Really good October. November, still tough to call, but it's called Pepper Boxing. There's 3 locations in Atlanta. I own the Buckhead one. Me and my partner Lauren. So anybody who who wants to get fitness and get it done in a different kind of way, we doing that. Because it's not a boxing ring per se. It's boxing fitness. So, so there's the punching bags, and there's we also do strength training. We added yoga to the mix because there's a lot of people walking around all tight and we want to loosen you up. We're also doing a reflexology class that we're adding to the mix. So we're just trying to provide as many things of value that we can to people because, you want to protect your temple. You want to protect your body and make sure that, you're in enough shape to be durable so you can have a long existence and not a a long struggly one, because like it doesn't take much for your body to fall apart once you stop doing things. And even when they talk about the elderly, they say like boxing is really good for the elderly, not punching each other per se, but just like for memory, like throw a jab, boom, boom, because like you have to think. Throw a jab, throw a cross, throw a hook, throw a right. So like all these things kind of keep you sharp in the totality of it all. So like so we want people to tap in. If you could just go on the Googles and whatnot, type in Pepper Boxing Buckhead, we come right up. We open 7 days a week, and we'd love to have you. First class, $5.
Oh, okay. Dope. So y'all got any massages like after people work out? Because I'd be on a massage. I thought
We are partnering with different massage places. Like there's actually like we had a meeting with some people a couple weeks ago to do something on a particular date, or where like they provide massages for clients that come through. We're always doing customer loyalty and appreciation things because we really appreciate the people that come and rock with us, because it's a community. Like like sometimes when you go to places like LA Fitness, I don't know, you don't really know these people, but like we know these people because they come around, like they come often and they bring friends, and like so I'm not there every day because like I own it, I don't work there, but I do pop up. Like I'm usually there Fridays, and then sometimes Monday. Well, usually Monday. Fridays, Mondays you can usually catch me there, but every other day is kind of susceptible to like how busy I am or not.
Okay. So y'all make sure y'all check in at the Buckhead location. Make sure you get the
Yep, yeah.
off of Google. And what's the name of it again?
Pepper Boxing, and just look for the Buckhead one. And yeah, man. And even if you got a membership with us, you can go to the other locations. But come break bread with your boy.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, thank you so much, HeadKrack.
Thank you.
For your
This is a fun conversation. Shout out to everybody in the chat, family, friends, people passing through, all that good stuff. Whether you've seen it live or catching the replay, appreciate the love.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you being as humble as you are, just like, giving me this opportunity to give me some time for my podcast. But it's still growing, it's freshly new, and I'm looking forward to many more opportunities like this. I really truly appreciate you and your value.
Well, keep cooking up and stay focused and don't stop, because we ain't going to let you.
So I'm definitely gonna keep in touch. You my dog, you my guy. Thank you. Your time has not been in vain. I really truly value your time. This was a great interview. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for kicking with Yamahhhh.
Anytime, Yama. Peace, baby.
Bye.
Later, y'all. Chill.
How did y'all like that interview? How was the interview with HeadKrack? Did y'all enjoy the night session? I know it overlaps a little bit, but I mean everything was so great. Like it was just that's what it was. Oh, thank you, Cece. Cece is my dog, my friend from California, y'all. Thank you, my Vaughn. Thank you. Yep. Thank you so much. I forgot to tell her I'm gonna write them and tell her it's gonna be on YouTube. The whole interview is going to be on YouTube, but I'm going to be playing clips on different social media outlets. So, but thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Cece. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for tuning in with me as I keep growing within this podcast industry. And I just really appreciate the love. Like I'm looking at the numbers and everything like that. Like I can't wait to go back and be like, dang, I was here. Now I'm to the top and I keep gradually moving up. But it's because of you and your support that keep checking in. I really truly appreciate it. Make sure y'all subscribe to Kicking It with Yamahhhh, KICKINITWITHYA, and MA, and 4 H's at the end. Thank you. Make sure you follow me and just come on, keep kicking it with Yamahhhh. Like, y'all are. Yes, thank you. Look at my Cece. Thank you, Monique. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, guys. I really truly appreciate y'all. Oh, look at Mom. See, that's Mom. Who's my next guest? I got to look on the calendar, Mom. Up past my bedtime. I got to look at the calendar. Who is my next guest, y'all? Oh, Lord, I'm going to have to. Mom, don't get on to me. I'm going to have to get it together. But, yeah, I have to have that next guest on. I'm gonna let y'all know prior to. I'm sorry. Next time I have it together on who my next guest gonna be after I close out the live. Before I close out the live. But thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much, Monique, for standing up past your bed. Kurt, you don't go to bed at your house. Y'all don't never go to bed over there. But thank you so much. Thank you, Alfonso, for the gifts. Thank you for Monique. Thank you for Asia. Thank you, Cece, for sharing. Thank you, Mom, for sharing. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And the people that thank you. I don't know. You know what? Tomorrow, I don't have a guest tomorrow, Cece, but I will be on live. I ain't gonna have no guest tomorrow, but I'll be on live. I'll definitely be on live. Good night. Good night. Good night, Mo. But I'll definitely be on live for real. I ain't gonna have no guests, but I'll be on live though. Oh. Okay, boo. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much. I'm gonna let y'all go. I will be back. Thank you for the repost, the shares. Make sure y'all subscribe to my I will, Alfonso. Make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kicking It with Yamahhhh. Thank you guys for kicking it with me. Thank you for showing the love. Thank you for HeadKrack for being a valued guest on the show. And thank y'all for watching this growth. Thank you so much. I really genuinely appreciate it. And cheers to many more lives. Bye.